There's always a tendency here to want to get this body-mind calmed down enough, or grounded enough, or in the right space enough before speaking happens. And I'm not gonna do that today. I'm growing tired of trying, I was going to say trying to do things right, but there's been a process of being tired of trying, period, that's probably been happening for a longer time, although I didn't always recognize it as such. I didn't recognize it as an exhaustion of the, I guess some would call it the ego, or of the human person. I don't think that any of those labels really matter. There's just this unraveling and feeling so done with all the effort. There's always been this grasping for something. And since my exposure to the Sedona method 20 years ago, and then using it and share myself and sharing it in some form with clients, it's been so helpful to use one of the, I guess you'd say, one of the tools of the method, where you can notice what's happening inside and the quality of what we might call a feeling or a feeling state, and ask from the perspective of the felt experience, not what the mind says or thinks it is, but from the feeling itself. Does this feel like it's coming from a sense of wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting security/safety? There are two others also, wanting separation or wanting oneness. And it seems that those 5 wanting energies are ultimately all one energy, as every energy is just one energy, but they are, but we can distinguish one from the other because of the quality or the tone of it. It's not something we can prove or necessarily explain, but we can typically feel whether it feels like wanting approval or love or attention or something, either from ourselves or someone else. And none of these things have to make sense. And to the thinking brain, they're not going to make sense. Because the thinking brain and the ego structure of the thinking brain is pretty invested in not admitting that these wants, these things are driving just about every feeling and every behavior and everything that we think and do. It's a pretty bold statement to make, and don't take my word for it. It has consistently seemed to me to be true in, like I said, the last 20 years that I've used this tool with myself and my clients. Try it out for yourself and see. But I think the bigger issue that it points to is that the human organism is constantly wanting. It's constantly trying to get something, get soothing, get freer, get happier, get more peaceful, get more feeling on top of things, feeling more secure, feeling connected. It's always wanting, trying to get these things. And when the human organism has an experience of seeming to have those things, there is some relief, but often not for very long. And it is this constant push of this organism, which became and has become increasingly just unbewithable, unbearable, just too tiring. And so there's been a breaking that has happened and happens with the exhaustion, when I can't do it anymore, and the body mind happens, and there's this this letting go that feels like dying, because to the eco structure it is dying, because the eco structure has been saying that if you just keep trying, if you just you're almost there, you almost have it, you can almost get it. If you just, it's like a carrot dangling in front of you, just almost get it. Then you're going to reach this place of nirvana and peace or enlightenment, or just wanting to feel loved enough. And at some point, there is a falling away of that habituated energy of internal push. And as it falls away, one can see the energy that it was requiring, and see the suffering it was producing. Because as it falls away, and then there's the empty rest, the fullness of the empty rest, and a kind of fullness in which it's seen that there's nothing missing, and there never was anything missing. That this falling away, this uncontracting and falling into the space of isness, of nothingness, is completely full and completely complete. And in this space, for lack of a better word to call it, there really aren't words for it, but in this isness, there's nothing that needs to be fixed or changed or made better. There's no one here who needs to be improved. And as feelings happen, they just happen. And without the mind or the contracted sense of the person, there's no problem. There's not a glue. There's not a contracted me and this feeling and this resistance to this feeling and the thinking that it shouldn't be here and that I should be happy, and if life is doing this and I'm feeling this way instead, something is wrong, and this great fight with what is, when what is, especially when with regards to our emotions, is just energy happening and energy moving with a certain tone or quality that makes us know what the energy is, and so we may feel uncomfortable, but so what? What's so bad about feeling a little uncomfortable, except for the mind telling us it shouldn't be so, or there's something wrong with it or wrong with us? Where do we get these ideas? There's nothing wrong with you. Your feelings are not a mistake. Your feelings about your feelings are what humans do, what the mind does. And from what I can tell, as best I can tell, with whatever degree this body-mind can know, and who knows if it knows anything, people who've experienced great falling away of the personal self, these people we might call enlightened, seem to still function as humans. still seem to have thoughts, still seem to have thoughts of different qualities, judgmental thoughts, fear thoughts, and continue to have feelings. But the cultural, religious lie that we've all bought is that there is a happiness to attain that is absent of human emotion and human thought. And somehow we're not doing it right unless we're perfectly at peace and our minds are perfectly quiet. Now, having said that, there is a peace and a quieting that has happened here with this body-mind organism, but it has not come from trying to make it happen or from trying to control it. It's come as a result of meeting great pain where it is, as it is, and knowing great resistance to that pain and the pain of resistance to that pain, and fully embodying it all. And waiting with it as it flows and moves and runs its course. And then feeling that, that pop, that as it cuts loose, or as something inside kind of cuts loose. And the quiet fullness that comes after. And I'm aware that there is a danger in sharing that experience because it can sound like a prescription. Yeah. Do what I did and then you'll be free. That was just how it happened here. It happens differently for everybody. And there is a slight sadness here, and a little bit of a clench here, and a little bit of a weight here. And a softness that comes in acknowledging it. and allowing a love to arise. A tender, compassionate love, knowing how hard you're trying. And knowing what it's like to try so hard. And it's okay. And you're doing just fine. And if you can just trust, or just consider the possibility, even remotely, that this amazing, miraculous body-mind organism knows what to do. Knows how to unclench when it's damn good and ready. In the meantime, you're invited to simply notice. And notice that you can notice.